Hello, children. It's time for a story. The Prince and the Pea. Once upon a time, there was a princess who wanted to marry a prince, but he would have to be very tidy since she didn't like a mess. She met with princes from all over the world to find one, but nowhere could she get what she wanted. There were princes enough, but it was difficult to find out whether they were tidy ones. There was always something about them that was not as it should be. So she finally canceled her business Zoom account and was sad, for she would have liked very much to have a tidy prince. One evening, there was a terrible storm, and the princess couldn't go out for a walk. The princess went off to bed, but her father, the old king, was so sad for her that he decided to see if any new princes had appeared on the royal dating service. To his surprise, he saw a new prince sitting in a tidy room. The old king told the old queen about it. The old queen didn't think it was likely that a tidy prince could exist. "Well, we'll soon find out about that," she said. The old queen texted the tidy prince's mother, who was a friend from her rugby days in college. She asked her friend to put a pea under the prince's bed. On this bed, the tidy prince had to lie all night. In the morning, the old queen asked him how he had slept. "Oh, very badly," said he. "I have scarcely closed my eyes all night. Heaven only knows what was in the bed, but I was lying on something hard, and I just couldn't wait to tidy it up." Now they knew he was a real tidy prince because he had felt the pea right through his beds and couldn't wait to clean it up. Nobody but a real tidy prince could be as sensitive as that. So the princess took him for her spouse, and the pea was put in a museum where it may still be seen, if no one has stolen it. The end.
So I'm here with Vanessa Charbonneau, and we're going to be talking about Caslow, who was the princess of the fairy tale. And the princess had to do like quite a few different behaviors. He had to look into the camera and like be all mournful and then watch, a whole bunch of dogs who were just not going to do it for her as a spouse. They were very untidy. And then head down and some other stuff. So to start, why don't you just tell us a little bit about you as a trainer and your sort of journey?
Sure. So I've been professionally training for about 7 years now. I started off taking the Karen Pryor Academy and becoming a certified training partner through that. And then it's been almost 2 years since I graduated from the Academy for Dog Trainers. So my training approach is science-based, positive reinforcement. I started off doing a lot of companion dog training, basic manners, puppy classes, and I've sort of finessed or funneled my business more towards fear and aggression. So my business is Sit Pretty Pet Services. I still offer a lot of basic manners and puppy courses for people, but my bread and butter are fear and aggressive and reactive dogs. Those are the ones that I love to take on, and the vast majority of my clients are those kind of dogs.
Okay, cool. So tell me about Caslow. Like, where did you get him and how long have you had him? And
Yeah, so Caslow is a rescue. We got him from Bonners Ferry, Idaho, when he was about 4 months of age. He was abandoned in a Safeway parking lot. When he was little, they just opened their door, put him out, and then drove away. So we found him a couple of weeks after his abandonment at a shelter and brought him home. He was named Sparky at the time. And we adopted him under the assumption that he would be this small Jack Russell Terrier Beagle cross, which he is not. He is an Australian cattle dog, pit bull, husky, Roddy mix. He's about 40 pounds. He's, as you can see in the video, he's very lanky and a little bit awkward, but he is my heart dog through and through. He is the snuggliest dog I've ever met. He's great with my kids. He not great with other dogs, but I mean, we all have our vices. And he's the first dog that I've had that I trained positively from the get-go. So my dog prior to him was a crossover dog where I was really kind of figuring out training in the training world. But Caslo, lucky enough for him, got an entirely positive upbringing, and still today he's my demo dog in all of my classes. He participates with reactive dog clients, even though he himself is a reactive dog. And he's my pal.
Nice. Yeah, I know when we were divvying up roles at the beginning of the fairy tale video project, we saw Caslo's face and Jean just said, "That's the princess."
He's a very dainty fellow.
Okay, so tell me a little bit about the type of training, the range of behaviors, what do you do with, so you just said he's a stimulus dog for reactive dog training, which is really cool. So, what has he learned in the past?
So I haven't done a lot with him compared to my other dogs. So we've done some minor trick training. The biggest things that we work on with him are his leash reactivity. So he's got a lot of good watch me behaviors and a very strong leave it and a fantastic recall. But some of the skills that he already had that transferred nicely into this video was targeting. We do a lot of targeting. So hand target is my recall cue. We also do a lot of cooperative care and husbandry stuff. So his start button behavior for cooperative care is a chin target. So that came in really nicely with his chin down mournful bed behavior that he did. That was a very, very quick behavior to teach. And he is a professional at looking miserable in order to get attention and food. So that came kind of naturally to him. And then he did some work with a mouse, and that was another targeting behavior. So targeting is one of our favorite things to incorporate into training, and that came in really nicely for the behaviors that we had to do for the video. We did have to incorporate in props. So he doesn't generally wear a hat. He's not that kind of a guy. So we had to condition him to wearing a hat, which he's pretty good with novelty, so that didn't take too long. And we had to add in the prop of a mouse, so targeting a mouse, that's a novel prop for him, and just teaching him to perform his behaviors while wearing a hat in lots of them. So obviously something we don't do every day, but combining them, so helping him to generalize those skills with that prop in place.
Right. Fun. Yeah. I definitely think out of all the dogs in the video, Caslo had to learn the most. Like, it was the broadest variety.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. We enjoyed it both.
So was it a lot of like cue transfer type stuff, or did you actually have to build some behavior?
I built some behaviors. So the mouse targeting I talk about a lot because it was the one that gave us the most trouble. He's a very enthusiastic with his feet. So trying to shape precision was really difficult for him and for me. So there was a lot of cue transfer. So his chin target on a bed was just basically a cue transfer. The paw targeting I ended up free shaping, and then added in a new cue at the end. And his eye contact, that was already something he already knows, so we just built some duration into that. So free shaping was probably what we leaned on the most for new behaviors, and then obviously some classical conditioning for the hat to make sure that he was a fan of his attire during the performance.
And he did, like, he really pulled it off. That scene in the beginning where it's like the veil is blowing across his face. I mean, come on. That was
He's
so
such a
great.
good sport. I mean, if there's hot dogs involved, he's game for pretty much anything. As long as he knows what's going on and the expectation, he is in it. So I'm pretty lucky. He's a very motivated and engaged learner.
That's fun. So tell me specifically, what was the problem when I know you mentioned this, the paw target, so he was just slapping it around too hard, or what was the...
Yeah, he was inclined to dig it, so to pull it. So I had to, at one point I duct taped it, and then I thought, well, that's not very clean, so we can't have that. And I was trying to shape more, I wanted more duration, so I wanted him to paw target it and hold it for several seconds, and that he would get frustrated really easily. So if I delayed my reinforcement, he would get frustrated, which would cause him to dig at it more, and it would go flying across the room. This is my husband's mouse for work that we borrowed, so it is still functional. It is a little banged up, but it's still functional. So what I actually ended up doing is I thought, you know, if this mouse is up a bit higher, we might be able to get some more precision. And I thought, well, that's ridiculous. How am I going to get it up high? And then I thought, well, why don't I just teach him to climb into a chair as if he is sitting at a computer desk, which is ideally what the scene was supposed to be. And as soon as I adjusted the environment and I put that mouse up on a table, it was like, boom, instant. He figured out the paw target. I got duration. I got like a hold. He tried to like chin target his paw, which I thought was just adorable. And it just really came together for him. So it was a good lesson for me that when things aren't going the right way and the learner's frustrated, like we don't just keep repeating what you're doing. Like change something, make it easier for him to understand what's expected of him and the criteria to earn his reward. So it was really cool when it came together. It was very reinforcing for me. So.
Oh, nice. Yeah. Sometimes it seems like a little bit of a different prompt can be such a blessing. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
Okay. I really enjoyed being part of this video project, not only because it gave us something to focus on. So I find that when I have a specific training task or goal in mind, it's easier for me to approach training and make it part of a regular day. So it gave us a focus and it was so much fun. So I always enjoy training with my dog. He is such an enthusiastic participant. And I think it was around April when we started this project, which, I mean, stress was pretty heightened. My kids were shut home with me, so we all kind of hated each other. And it gave me something really positive to look forward to. It helped me manage my stress, knowing that I got to spend some, structured time working with my dog. And it was also such great enrichment for him. So we had lockdown, we had, kids home from school, we still had cold weather and snow, and everyone was feeling a bit stir crazy. But after a 5 to 10 minute training session, my dog was so much happier, which makes me happier, which makes everyone else happier. And trick training, I don't take enough time to focus on tricks. I'm always focusing on the bigger things in the picture. And trick training is it's invaluable. So yes, these skills don't come into play every single day, but they're such fun behaviors to teach our dogs. And it goes to show that something like a chin target can be the foundation for so many different behaviors. So it was a really nice opportunity to just do some fun training that we just both really did for the sake of doing it.
Okay, so I'm here today with Maria Karanungan. We're going to be talking about Noodle. Noodle was the old king in the fairy tale, and he had to do some kind of fun stuff. Like he had to sit on a chair, he had to join in a Zoom with the Tidy Prince, he had to, do some mouse clicking. So just to start, Maria, why don't you tell us a little bit about Noodle?
Noodle is about 7 years old, and we're not sure what breed he is. He came from a shelter in the Central Valley of California. And he is just a scrumptious little morsel. I just had to keep him. And
so now, what, can you just tell us a little bit about you, about, you know, when you graduated, where you work, what your specialties are, what you like, you know, as far as dog training, the dog training work that you do?
yes, I graduated from the academy in 2016. I had been a trainer before, but I was looking to really advance my knowledge and fill in the holes that I had. And I really wanted to actually be doing the best possible job I could for people. And the academy education was my answer to that. Um, and I'm currently working in Burlington, Vermont, and co-owner of Fetch the Leash. And we're right now specializing in puppies because of the pandemic. So there's a lot of focus on puppy related, all things puppy related. But I also do separation anxiety training and service dog training.
Cool. That's awesome. Okay, so give me some sort of a hint, like what's the range of behaviors, of tricks, or what kind of training have you done with Noodle before this video?
So he knew basic training for public access. He does do sound alerts for me. So he had some call targeting behavior with my phone, which the cue for him is my phone ringing. So it was a little bit different than targeting a mouse. That doesn't make a sound.
Right.
It's a little bit of adapting for that. He has some, you know, the usual sit down, stay calm, things like that came in handy. And we've always done quite a bit of just emphasizing his comfort level with getting up on different surfaces and different props, just so that, you know, he can be in different places and do different things. So things like getting up on the chair was no problem.
Right. Right, of course. Okay, so you had to do, I was looking at the list of behaviors that you needed to take a video of, and it was like walking through a door into a room, and then jumping up on the chair and doing a sit stay looking in one direction, and then the paw targeting the mouse. So what kind of training did you do? Did you do like, I mean, did you just have to do cue transfers, or did you have to actually build some of these behaviors? And if so, you know, what kind of a training plan did you use?
So some of it was just was stuff that he already knew, like getting up in the chair. Some of it we had to build. For example, he's a little bit nervous about my phone, about looking in my phone, so we had to build that. That wasn't terribly challenging, though. I just held up a phone and put a little treat above it, and he stared at the treat for a good long time. That was not too hard. He but actually one of the hardest things was trying to get him to walk into a room slowly, because I started off thinking that it would work to just have him do a sit stay in a different room and then have the camera filming him coming into the room while I called him. But we have wooden floors, and he is used to his recall is super fast, and he just slips and slides, and he's trying to run, and it's not very regal at all.
It totally wasn't regal. So how did you train him to walk more regally into the room?
Well, to be honest, I figured out that I should actually break some rules of dog training. And I would tell him to sit and stay in the other room, and then I would quietly sneak into the room with the camera and say nothing.
And then he just came in.
And he was like, sort of like,
hello?
There's no release word, there's no recall. But he wanted to follow me into the room, so that's how I got him to walk into the room slowly.
That was perfect, though. It worked so well.
Yeah, and then the other thing that was a little bit of a challenge was transferring the paw target to the mouse.
Right.
So I just started from step one with that, the same way I had done with the phone, which was to put a little treat under the mouse
Okay.
um, and just reinforce him for touching it with his paw. It did start off with him trying to eat the mouse.
I saw that. So how did you get rid of the nose targeting and the chewing of the mouse with the food under it? Like, how did you get or what was your plan there?
Well, I had to initially just sort of wait for paw targeting behavior rather than nose targeting or mouth targeting.
Right.
So I wound up just waiting him out, and just clicking when he happened to offer his paw. Sometimes he wasn't actually touching the mouse; he was just moving his paw like next to it, and I would just click and just continue reinforcing successive approximations toward actually touching the mouse. And then we just kept on keeping on until we got what we wanted.
Right. So it was essentially just like a prompted free shaping kind of
Yeah.
exercise. Cool. I think Noodle was kind of like, I mean, he was such a star, I think.
Oh.
You know, walking into the room in the little crown. I mean, he definitely added a lot to the, the video, I think. So tell me about the crown, because he didn't like the crown at first, did he?
He didn't. He's never really liked me putting anything on his head. He's never been a fan of hats.
Okay.
And I started with a little piece of yarn and tried to putting a little piece of yarn on his head, and he would get really sad. And so I just started associating that with tripe. So just put a piece of yarn on his head and then give him tripe. Just rinse and repeat until I was no longer getting that sort of sad look. And instead he was just like, okay, this is okay. I can do this.
Right.
And we worked our way up to putting on the little crown. And then we started just feeding his meals. So basically he ate all of his meals with the little crown on for several weeks.
Wow, that's impressive. So for anyone in the audience who's not familiar with desensitization and counter conditioning, what you're describing is just like a perfect desensitization and counter conditioning protocol. You started with something that, you know, resembled, you know, having a crown on his head, and then you just, you know, followed all the rules, and in the end he looked so happy in his little crown in the end.
Well, we also learned that when the crown came on, that training started, and food started, and mealtime started. So it just started to become associated with really good things.
Great. Yeah. It looked super cute on him.
Me.
Okay, so was there any sort of bumps in the road with your training? So you got this list, quite a like, not small list of behaviors that I wanted you to train for this video. Was there anything that you were like, this is going to be easy, and it turned out to be way harder? Or, you know, was there any training bumps in the road?
Well, like I mentioned, I didn't anticipate that getting video of him walking into a room would be hard. You know, that was, it was suddenly like, oh my gosh, how do the TV people do this?
I know. I still wonder.
Yeah, I may be a professional dog trainer, but I don't know anything about how the camera is supposed to be set up and the lighting and things like that. And it had just never occurred to me that capturing something simple like having a dog walk into a room could be much trickier than would meet the eye. And I think that just in general, it was fun for us to sort of work through, well, could we just fall into certain habits where we just do the same things we do every day as a matter of course, and then all of a sudden someone wants us to do it a little bit differently because we're going to be doing it for a little fairy tale, and it's fun, and it challenges you to just sort of change the picture a little bit for your dog. So it was a nice way of, I think it was good mental enrichment for him. It was a good excuse for me to do more work with him.
it's hard when you know you have the burden of a kingdom and your princess son essentially.
Yeah, you got to weigh the needs of the kingdom with the needs of your daughter.
Yeah, exactly.
I just think that that I feel like people should just try to continue having more fun with their dogs, and just remember that even though it's 2020, we can still have a little bit of fun and enjoy life a little bit and enjoy spending time with their dogs, and just focus on some of the good things. And one of the amazing things that a lot of us have the ability to have is time with their dogs.
This video is going to be 10 minutes of us laughing. I'm here with Allie Kirby, and she is the trainer of record for Roxy, who is one of the untidy prince candidates who sadly did not worm their way into the princess's heart. So why don't you start off by just telling me a bit about yourself, in relation to the Academy and how you arrived here?
Yeah, I actually just passed my sophomore final this last week, so I'm a junior now in the Academy.
Congrats.
Yeah, thank you. Very excited. I decided on this program because it has a very strong science base, and that's where my degree is from, the science field. So that was really important to me, as well as the really high ethical standards that the Academy has for their trainers. That's something that's really important to me overall, especially in the field of dog training, because it's unregulated. So that's how I ended up here.
And what do you hope to do when you graduate? Like, what's or are you just wide open?
So when I graduate, I would like to have my own training business. I'd love to work with fearful and reactive dogs. That's what got me into dog training, actually, with Roxy. So that would be my ideal, but I also love puppies. I love the basic obedience stuff. So I'm really wide open to any possibilities.
Oh, that sounds great. So that is like a good segue. Tell me about Roxy.
Yeah, so Roxy is almost 10 years old. She'll be 10 on January 1st.
Okay.
She's a mutt. She's a rescue. We got her when she was about 4.5 months old. She is, like I said, the dog that got me into training. She is terrified of people. She's terrified of other dogs, terrified of noises and storms and just about everything in life. So we had to work really hard with her to get her to be able to function in a world. But she's a wonderful dog. She's so sweet. She's goofy as can be. She's just very fun to have around, really.
I loved the collar that you had for her.
Yeah.
Did you have that around, or were you like, I've got to go get this?
I had it from a bark box like a year ago, and so when I heard about this project, I was like, oh, I have the perfect thing. I've been holding on to it.
Right. I think now that you say that, I think we got that bark box too.
Yeah.
And roll and stuff in it.
Great. It's great.
Yeah. Oh, that's great.
And actually, the one thing that Roxy was never scared of is like gear, like harnesses, collars. So that was very easy.
Nice.
As well.
You just put that on. So did you have to do any specific training with her to get her? I know that the one thing that she sort of had to do was look at the screen as though she were on a Zoom call. So did you have to do any training or what?
So I actually did. I did a look cue for her. She knew it years ago, but we haven't worked on it in the last couple years probably. So we had to kind of refresh that.
Okay.
So I started with a lure, kind of worked through to a cue, and then got a bit of duration there for her to look at the camera for a decent amount of time. So as you can see, she had fun with it because she was wagging the whole time.
It was so perfect. I love to see the wag. That was actually one of my favorite moments about all of the princes was her wagging tail.
Right. We actually had a couple clips that failed because she was so excited that she started barking too.
But that would be almost like perfect untidy prince behavior though.
Oh, that's true. That's true. I guess I should have.
Okay, and so the other thing that I just loved so much about the footage that you sent about Roxy was how many dog toys. I was like, did she go out and just like ransack the store, or is this like the normal amount of dog toys you just have in your house?
Oh, so that's a multi-part story. So, first, my dogs are not shredders for whatever reason. I have 3, none of them shred, which is jackpot or weirdness jackpot. I don't know what you would call it. So they last forever. And then my first job was at a pet store. I'm back working at a pet store now, so you see all the toys there, and you're like, well, my dogs need these. And then we go Bark Box. But yeah, so that's not even all the toys we have. We have buckets in a couple different rooms. They love them. It gives them so much joy, and so,
right.
how are you going to say no, right?
So, yeah, how could you deny dogs something that gives them that much joy, right?
Exactly.
So I guess like you are now, or maybe this is something that you're sort of familiar with, or maybe something that's sort of coming new to you during your academy education, but you will come across people who are like, I don't want that mess in my house. So how are you, like, how would you push back at this point, looking at how gloriously happy your dogs are?
Yeah. Let them be dogs, as long as there's not a hazard to anyone, just let them be dogs, let them have fun. Of course, if there is a hazard or anything, you could, teach your dog to put away their toys on cue, which is a really fun way to get them involved as well, and still let them have access and have fun with the toys. What I did personally was I asked myself if I really cared that much, and the answer was no. It was a hard no. So I have not done that, and they're just, we live with a couple toys on the floor. Not as many as in the video, but sometimes.
I was going to say, but I didn't end up fessing up publicly in that Facebook group, that my poor dogs get like cardboard boxes. They love cardboard boxes. So our house looks like your video with shredded up pieces of cardboard. Like we don't even get toys.
They have fun. I mean, who are we to deny them that, right?
Exactly. And
so many rules,
we have wood stove, so we just clean up the cardboard and be like, look, it's perfect, it's helping to start the fire.
Yeah. You wouldn't be able to fit full boxes in there probably, so
no,
have someone shred them.
Exactly.
You're gonna do it yourself. So it's really fun to be in this project and get to work with Roxy again. So much of her life and our life together has been focused on really important things, right? With fear reactivity and just her general life fears. So we haven't had a ton of time to just work on having fun together. So this is a good way to remember how much fun it is to work together and how much fun training it can be if you're working with your dog. So yeah.
Get away, go.
Okay. Yes. Okay, get it. Oh, too late. Go, go.